All right, so welcome back, everybody, for this deep dive. We're going to be looking at something a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've got an excerpt from a devotional.
Okay.
So for those who aren't familiar, devotionals are basically like these little
Hmm.
short reflections, usually on a specific scripture or a theme.
Yeah.
And they're kind of meant to like guide your daily spiritual practice.
Oh, okay, cool.
So they're kind of
Yeah.
short and sweet, but they pack in a lot of like,
Yeah.
depth and meaning.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So the excerpt we're diving into is actually focusing on a super well-known phrase.
Okay, which one?
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yep. It's from Luke 10:27. And, on
Okay.
the surface, it
Uh,
sounds pretty simple, right?
yeah, it does sound pretty straightforward.
But there's so much more there when you really start to, like, unpack it.
Okay.
It goes on to say that Jesus commands us to extend love beyond our comfort zones.
Yeah.
So I guess for you,
Hmm.
like, what immediately comes to mind when you hear this whole, like, love your neighbor as yourself concept?
Honestly, the first thing I think about is, like, who is my neighbor?
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it just the person who lives next door,
Yeah.
or is it everyone I come across in my day? Like,
Mhm.
how far does that actually extend?
Yeah, and especially these days, right?
Oh, totally.
When you can
Yeah.
connect with people all over the world.
Exactly.
So it's like, are those people my neighbors too?
Right. It really kind of explodes that whole idea of neighborhood, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely makes you rethink those boundaries.
Totally. And then, when you add in that part about going beyond our comfort zones,
Right.
that suggests that, like, loving your neighbor might sometimes mean loving people who are hard to love,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is a whole other can of worms.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It makes you think about, like, forgiveness and tolerance.
Absolutely.
And just, like, being open to understanding different perspectives, even when they clash with your own.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's huge.
Right, because it's so easy to just, like,
Yeah.
stay in your own little bubble.
Totally.
But this is pushing us to, like, actually engage.
Mm-hmm. Engage and, like, actively work to expand our empathy.
Yeah, even when it's uncomfortable.
Right. Which it often is.
Oh, yeah. But it's about recognizing that, like,
Mhm.
everyone deserves that basic level of respect and compassion.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting because the devotional doesn't just leave us with this big theoretical idea.
Yeah.
It actually gives us a call to action. It says, show love to a neighbor or someone in need today.
Okay, so taking it out of our heads and into the real world.
Exactly. So then it becomes like, okay, how do I actually do that?
Yeah. What are some concrete ways that we can express love in our everyday lives?
Right. Because it's easy to just think about it abstractly, but then how do you put it into practice?
Yeah, totally. It could be as simple as like, giving a genuine compliment to a stranger
Mm-hmm.
or holding the door open for somebody.
Right.
Or maybe it's something bigger like donating to a cause you care about
Totally.
or even just having a difficult conversation that you've been putting off.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because sometimes love requires us to be uncomfortable and have those hard conversations.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about being intentional with our actions.
Yeah, looking for those little opportunities to make a positive impact.
Exactly. And, sometimes those opportunities are small and personal.
Right.
And sometimes they might mean looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, like advocating for social change or challenging systems that are causing harm.
Exactly.
There's so many ways to put this idea into practice.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the devotional also includes a suggested prayer.
Okay.
It says, Lord, open my heart to love those around me unconditionally.
Wow, unconditional love. That's a pretty high bar.
It is. It really challenges our preconceived notions about, like, what people deserve or what we expect in return.
Yeah, because so often we love conditionally, right? Like, I'll love you if you do this, or I'll love you as long as you don't do that.
Right, exactly. But this is about offering love freely without expecting anything back,
Yeah.
no matter what.
It's about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual, even when they mess up.
Exactly. It doesn't mean we condone harmful actions.
Right.
But it means we acknowledge that everyone has that spark of divinity within them that deserves to be loved.
Yeah, I remember a time when I was really struggling to forgive someone who had hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took like a conscious effort to let go of the anger and resentment I was holding on to.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It wasn't easy at all, but it was so freeing.
It is, isn't it? I think those moments of struggle when we're pushed to our limits are really where we put this principle to the test.
Yeah, and you realize how powerful it could be to choose love even when it's hard.
Right. And I think, even just this little excerpt from a devotional,
Mhm.
it really opens up a whole world of reflection on how we define and practice love.
Yeah, absolutely. So Listeners, what resonates most with you from all of this?
What are you taking away?
What questions does this spark for you?
I think it's a really powerful question to ask ourselves. What would the world look like if everyone genuinely tried to love their neighbor as themselves?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, how would our interactions be different?
Right.
Our communities,
Mm-hmm.
global affairs.
It would be a completely different world, wouldn't it?
I think so. And while this devotional gives us a good place to start,
Yeah.
the exploration doesn't have to end here.
Mm-hmm.
What small act of love can you put into practice today?
Right. Even just one small thing.
Yeah. Carry this reflection with you and see how it might inspire some positive change in your little corner of the world.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
See you next time.